A very warm welcome everyone to CRF Racing League. We're here today in Austin for Tier 2. And they will go up against each other and see who will win and who will keep it on the gray stuff. Yesterday we had Tier 3 drive here and we had absolute carnage in the last few laps. Let's see if we can replicate that this time around, as EA is having a little bit of an issue it seems, but we don't let that stop us from having a good time here today. I hope we'll have a good race today. My name is Fridge, by the way. I was here also yesterday. Hopefully we can have a good race and a good time, as I hope it is just on my screen that it isn't working, not for everyone. As there we go, the session starts. 17 drivers line up today. Some new faces and some old. Let's see who can do what. Wimpy Nick, the clear favorite in terms of speed. However, he did say today that it is not one of his favorite tracks, and so we have to manage our expectations accordingly. As I just set up some last few things. A few new names, as I said. I'm not sure what everyone's pace will be like. It's a tricky track to get right, so definitely gonna be an interesting fight today. Also very curious, yesterday we had a wet qualifying, and so we are not very sure what the pace is supposed to be in qualifying. Compared to Tier 3, they should be slightly faster, but they didn't have qualifying in the dry, and so it is all up for grabs. Plus Ultra starting his first out lap, and most people going out pretty early. Nice and sunny, so no rain to be expected. So some people will be taking their time, as we see the Ferrari driver Lewis come out as well. I'm not sure if people in chat have a favorite today. Personally, I think Wimpy Nick will drive away with it again, but maybe if it is not one of his good tracks, we can see some underdogs, or some of the following people in the championship, like Tomo, Theodore. I think maybe they can put him to the test. But for now, we are just warming up. And we're just checking on everyone. Hopefully everyone can keep it on the gray stuff. Yesterday we did see one person crashing out in his first lap, or starting his first lap in qualifying. Let's hope that is not the case this time, as Jack comes around the final corner to start the first lap of the session, I believe. Hopefully it is a good one for him as he goes into turn 1. Let's quickly see. Let's quickly get rid of this. There. That's much better. As we already have a yellow flag, I think that's just people creating some space, as there's two drivers starting their lap just next to each other. The McLaren of Harry together with, seems to be one of the Williamses. Or Red Bull, I can't tell. But we're on board here with Jack. Let's see what he can do, braking late. Hitting that curb, which does unsettle the car a bit, but as long as he has a decent exit here, it should be fine. DRS open, as there's another yellow flag. That is a Mercedes trying to create some space, I hope, or maybe he went off. Not very sure about that, as he brakes. And does he know? Yeah, you can cut that corner quite significantly. We are on straight corner cutting today compared to yesterday. Yesterday, Tier 3 and Tier 4, they drive on standard. But no shenanigans here by the drivers allowed. No corner cutting of any kind. And so we are on board with Jack, and let's see what he can open today's qualifying with. Pretty clean last sector, maybe a little bit conservative, but cannot afford a mistake and just wants to set a time on the board as he does keep within the lines. And it's a 1:34.5 as it was an Alpine together with Burgertown, but Burgertown still goes fastest even though they were next to each other. That is a good lap by him. As we see another yellow flag, that is just some slow cars. Oh, there's a Mercedes without a front wing. That's Plus Ultra. Pushing a little bit too hard as Wimpy Nick goes to a 33.7. Luca Beal had aborted his lap. I think him and Harry were the two people that were next to each other. As an Aston Martin is off in the second sector and a Mercedes off in the final sector. Plus Ultra missing the box, because why wouldn't you box? A 201 is not going to give you much lap time. As Lewis going very wide, trying to create some space and trying to not impede for Shanghai. Also one of my favorites. He had an excellent race in Las Vegas last time around, and I hope for him he can continue that. As we are still on board with Lewis, who has aborted his lap, it seems, as Shanghai does take the fast lap for now, 1:33.7, as Plus Ultra still having some issues trying to find the pit exit, or pit entry rather. Now I wish Poster was still here to tell me how to pronounce this guy's name. I'll just call him Morek or something, I don't know. He is starting his lap. The Mercedes driver hoping to do a little bit better than his teammate who had a broken wing. As Tomo is already out. Not sure what happened to him. Maybe just a disconnect, maybe some bigger issues going on. Jack, you might have to check your settings, man, because I think you put your settings on simple and then it just gives you all the easiest things, including like brake. Just check your settings, because I can't force auto ERS. I can only allow auto ERS. Yeah, it's locked because you locked it in. Look in, if you're in settings, look in the top right. There's like a button that you press there accidentally, and that turns it from simple to expert, or from expert to simple. You want to be on expert because then you can change all your settings. That's also why the lobby was locked for you. I did that once and it just fucked all my settings. You have to go back to expert and then change all your settings back to normal. Yeah, you have to click the button that's next to casual. As Lewis goes to the fastest lap, 1:33.6. Wonderful to see by the Ferrari driver. So it's on casual. You have to click the button that's next to that, and then it will turn to like standard or expert. You have to get it to expert, and then you can change all your settings again. It's a system to help like kids not fuck up their own settings by accident. Anyway. That being said, Wavy Knife, there's a lot of fast drivers here. So, wait, you're in the stream, right? If you go to settings, oh, it's locked. Oh, you can't change it during the session. Whoa. You're not allowed to change it during the set. No, Jack. Brother, that's really unfortunate. I don't know if you can back out and change it outside of the session and I re-invite you, but it's pretty risky because you might not be able to go back. That's up to you though. Because normally when you go into settings, you can check in the top right the button that says next to it, and then you can click it, and then it will just go back to expert, and then you have to change all your settings back. Up to you if you want to try that. As I have to check real quick. Assists are wrong. What do we mean? ERS, DRS, and pit release are on. Yeah, pit release is supposed to be on. ERS and DRS are supposed to all be... It's assist restrictions, people. They are supposed to be allowed. I am confused. I don't know what people are blabbering on about. Alright. Apologies for the inconvenience. People are a bit unclear on whether or not it's my fault or some people just have their assists the wrong way. Because some people say it's fine, some people say it isn't. Looks fine to me, but I'm not sure. Regardless, we do see Wimpy Nick do a 32.7. That's a very competitive lap time. Very good by the Williams driver. But it is what it is. As we are on board with him still, but he has already done his lap. So let's see if anyone else is on the lap at the moment. Wavy Knife doesn't seem to be on one. Theodore doesn't seem to be on one. Lewis in the pit. Shanghai on his out lap. Harry just starting his lap. A very fast driver in his own accord, and definitely would want to see him higher than 7th. But as I said earlier, a lot of fast drivers. Parker, Wimpy Nick, Wavy Knife, Theodore, Shanghai, you know, they've been at the top pretty much every race they raced. Lewis obviously missing the last race, but nice to see him up there in the top 5. And now it is just waiting to see if Harry can improve on his 33.8. As he has already invalidated. I think that's why the entire map is red. So let's go on board with Mork, who is slightly up on his own time for his first sector at least. So he goes a little bit wide there, but gets some good speed, and so it's probably good enough. A yellow flag shows that the Haas had a little bit of noopsie there. But good speed here for the Mercedes driver, and let's see if he can continue this for the rest of the lap. We're about halfway through right now as the Aston Martin is parked on the inside, but out of the way, luckily for the Mercedes, as he makes his way through the end of Sector 2, and he is still up about a 10th, which will not put him much more up, unfortunately. However, it is still a long third sector with a lot of ground to cover as he goes through the second to last corner, keeps it within the lines very well there. And now the crucial final corner, tries to keep it straight, does do so, and does improve to a 33.5. Definitely had some time in the last sector, that's good to see. And he puts himself P4 for now, very good for him. Jack, meanwhile, in P6 with the auto ERS. It's going to be tough for him to improve. It's unfortunate for him that some of the settings were messed up for him. Let's hope not everyone has the same issues there. As we see Shanghai through the final corner, he improves to P3. Very well done. I keep enjoying watching this guy drive, honestly. It's just very fun, and he just keeps performing. And let's hope that he has some more luck than he had last time around in Las Vegas. Obviously, all the safety cars and stuff do tend to take a toll on strategy. Anyone else that we can follow? Seems like everyone is just waiting for their final laps. That being said, Aiden starting his final lap here with 2.5 minutes to go, as we see a Haas off at the end of the second sector. Does hopefully make space for the Mercedes, does seem to do so. As Plus Ultra is still quite far off the pace, expected him to be a little bit more up there, but he still has some time for his next lap, as we are still on board with Aiden through the tricky S's, and does negotiate them pretty well. And now onto the most important corner, in my opinion. This acceleration just gains you so much time. It seems like he negotiated that corner pretty well. And now approaching a tricky corner for sure. He goes around it. You can't cut that corner even on strict because it's so thin. But it does unsettle the car, so it is a little bit of give and take. Here you want to straighten out the car as fast as possible, get on that throttle, and he does so pretty nicely as we are into the third sector. As there's a yellow still, people just creating some space for themselves as always. Turns in a little bit early and so has to lift extra, and he has aborted his lap, and that means P15 is the best that Aiden can expect today. As we see a Ferrari starting his lap, that is Lewis right now in P8, just behind Jack, who just retires. He'll be disappointed with the result, because I think he definitely has more pace than this, but his settings definitely putting a spanner in the works. As that is, I'm baffled that there isn't a corner cut, as Lewis has a big moment there out of the S's. And now we'll have to do everything to still improve on this lap. 33.6 currently, as he has another wiggle. Burgertown retires, as there is an Aston round in the final corner. Hopefully not in the way of any people finishing their laps, as Lewis here is still continuing his lap. And let's see if he can find the improvement that he is searching for. But after that first sector, it will be tough. He is a second off, and so I think we can go to other people, as it is Theodore out off in the final corner, and so he is done. P6 the best that he can do today, as we are on board now with Parker, who had the pace pretty much every time that I've seen him drive, but just has to stay out of trouble. Plus Ultra improves to 13th and retires on the spot. As Parker does have pace, but can he keep it clean right now? A little bit of a wiggle there, and that is gonna cost him a lot of time through this entire straight, as there's a Mercedes off. That has to be the AI of Plus Ultra who retired. Hopefully not in the way of any drivers. Again, shouldn't really abort laps on track, as in retire on track, because the AI might swerve, as Parker's also 2 seconds off the pace. So let's go on board with Shanghai. Nope, he is also not doing it, as Wave and I've improves, but not enough. And so It looks like Theodore with no wing. Harry is still on the lap. He still has a wing. Maybe he can improve to anything above 9th. Hopefully that will be the case as he negotiates the 3rd sector now. Very tricky section this, with very low pace and wanting to get on that throttle as early as possible. Does so pretty well. The McLaren driver wanting to find a good result here as he's the only driver for his team this weekend. We know that Harry can do very well as he takes the risks and he takes the speed, and he does have a good last corner, but is it enough? It's a 1:32.9. He does get close, but it's not close enough. A purple final sector does reward him P2 for now, and I don't think anyone is still out that can improve, although Durgas is on a lap and he does improve. P6 for him. LFC Monks disappointingly in P12, and honestly a very close battle for the top steps, and a great session again from Wimpy Nick. LFC Monks still driving around, but that is already his AI, and so I think that is the end of qualifying. Shanghai unhappy of getting blocked. I think that was his AI, and that is exactly why you do not retire on track. As I see just now that la has followed. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the show if you're still here. Wimpy Nick takes P1, Harry takes P2, Wavy Knife finishes the top 3 as Shanghai takes 4th, Parker in 5th. Durgas takes 6th in the Aston, very good from him, and Warwick does take 7th, a solid result. Theodore 8th, might have hoped for a little bit more. P9 for Jack after his issues. I'm expecting more pace from him in the race. He'll do great, I'm sure, as Lewis rounds the top 10. He'll be trying to fight through the field rather, as well as Joel Domini has followed as well. Thank you so much, man. Hope you enjoy it here. As we are about to start a race, it looks very dry. And so the real question is, will it be a clean race? We saw a lot of aggressive overtakes yesterday, and now we hope to see clean, fair, but aggressive driving here as well, as the Mercedes driver and Shanghai are in a little bit of an argument here. But you know, tensions run up sometimes, especially during the final lap when you have all the grip and then someone is in your way. That is obviously frustrating. No formation lap, by the way, today, because it is bugged, and so we are already with 5 lights, and the lights are out, and the drivers are not off yet because there's lag, but now they're off and away, and Wimpy Nick does have a decent start. And is it good enough to keep the McLaren behind? He might have a little bit of a look on the inside. Harry does, and he does have a little bit of a look, but the Williams stays on the outside. A little bit of contact in the background between the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes, but they all get through cleanly for now. As the McLaren takes P1, he had the inside well there, as hopefully everyone else can get through cleanly as well. It does seem like they can keep it clean, as Jack does lose 1, 2, 3 positions. Down in 11th now. Not the best start for him. Wavy Knife looking at Wimpy Nick, who's not had the best start himself, as Plus Ultra and K have found each other in the second part of the S's, and that sees them demoted all the way to the back, but no safety car needed as they are both still driving. Wimpy Nick will want to get into this slipstream of Harry, and he does so and instantly uses his overtake to try and take it. He tries to cover him off, Harry does, but he is a little bit too late, and a great move by Wimpy Nick takes P1 here in lap 1. Wimpy Nick immediately trying to have a little bit of a look to try and find a little bit of a gap as well, but Harry does cover it off nicely. The Alpine of Parker looking pretty close as well, as Lewis has gained a few positions as well. Theodore and Durgas are trying to find some space to go up the field as well. And it does look like most drivers are on that medium tire, the Alpine on hards. Shanghai on mediums, everyone on mediums except for Parker, I thought it was. Oh, and there's a little bit of a tussle there. LSC Monks off together with Ultra. Jack is in the pits, Aiden is in the pits. A lot of damage, I'm guessing. And that is not ideal for these drivers. An extra pit stop this early will not bode well in terms of strategy unless there's a safety car, as Wimpy Nick has reclaimed the lead and instantly uses that to his advantage and drives away from Harry, who is struggling a little bit on that medium tire. Behind him, Wavy Knife and Parker and Shanghai are all keeping close to Harry, with next lap opening DRS that will see him exposed on this insanely big straight. But Harry is still just about within DRS range. Excuse me. Let's see further down the field. Born in Shanghai on the inside of the Alpine of Parker. Can they keep it clean? They do for now. Can he hold it around the outside? That will become the inside next corner. Parker tries to squeeze him, but he does hang it around the outside. That becomes the inside here. And on the hard tires, Parker might not have an answer. He does get forced wide, but he keeps it around the outside. Parker with a great move, but can he keep it within the inside now? And no, Shanghai rolls it, keeps it on the outside still. And now Shanghai claims the move. Although Parker does the cutback, he is still on the inside. Can he brake later on the mediums, on the hard tires? I mean, yes he can, but does he have the exit? It does seem to be Shanghai who has the speed. As on board with both drivers, it seems like he is still on the inside. Parker is. They've been side by side an entire section as Shanghai tries to do a cutback instead. Does it work? He has a little bit of a wiggle. He does save it just about, but Parker reclaims P4. Shanghai hasn't given up yet. He is still right behind, just like Theodore, Durgis, Lewis, Morecambe, Burgertown, all 2/10 from each other, and that will mean chaos here on this DRS straight, as DRS has been enabled this lap. And now it means that Born in Shanghai has an easy overtake here, and Parker might lose 2 or 3 positions, honestly. Especially on that hard tire, he will struggle with acceleration here. Parker doesn't even try to defend with ERS as Shanghai takes the outside. That is very bold, but it is beautiful. Around the outside he goes on the straight. And Parker does see a second person also go around the inside, and now a little tap from Morecambe, or is it Durgis, I think, that tried to send it but didn't quite make it stick, as LSC Monks has DNF'd into turn 1. That looks like a DNF that he did himself manually, as he is still driving. We expected a good result from him, but unfortunately is the first DNF of today. Shanghai has taken P4 from Parker, who has lost 2 positions, and now Theodore in P5 just behind Shanghai, who has to catch up to get hit the DRS of Wavy. Meanwhile, Lewis has fallen down to 11th. He's maybe had a little bit of contact as Luca Beal is out. I'm not sure what that is about, because I can still see him driving as well. But he is out, and that means we have 2 retirees already with no safety cars, luckily. He has left the session as well, as we are still on board with Lewis, who is now 2 seconds off points, but is on that medium tire just like most of them, as there is already the first penalty for track limits for Aiden. Let's go back to the fight though. Parker on his hard tire can just stick with the DRS and might use it to make his hards last, but instead it's Morecambe who goes on the inside and does make the move stick. In front, it's the Ferrari defending from Theodore, and does so brilliantly, as Theodore tries to have another look but doesn't quite make it work. Shanghai goes a little bit wide, and that means now Theodore a little bit compromised to Morecambe, who is brake checked pretty much by Theodore, who has a big wiggle, and Parker says thank you very much and takes P6. Parker still on the back of Theodore, trying to find a way through. here in lap 5 of 28. Tire wear a big deal here, and around this time the medium tire will start drifting a little bit, and it's all about who can use the tires the best, who can keep them in the best condition and also make sure they don't overheat. So once they do that, you start spinning. Once you start spinning, the grip levels will just get worse and worse and worse, as we see Theodore getting it slightly wrong here in the S's, and that loses him a little bit of ground on Shanghai. And Parker is looking, and he is hunting, and he wants that P5 back, as his tires will start to get better and better, as in front Shanghai goes insanely deep, and that means now it's a chance for Theodore to have a look on the inside of the Ferrari driver. Or will he defend it? He does not cover it off, and that means it is a clean and easy move, as Morcom instantly has a look again for Shanghai. Excuse me, for Parker, and that means he retakes P6. Parker down to P7. He gets a track limit warning, but did get pushed maybe, so might be able to get that removed if he gets the race director at the end of the race and doesn't get any more warnings. But yeah, you can see a lot of people now twitching when it comes to the acceleration, as a different line taken there by Theodore, who is back into P4. Lewis slowly catching back up, now in P10 and only a second away, so he has decent race pace as well. Shanghai now with the DRS. Theodore doesn't have DRS, and that means he might have a little bit of a look here on the inside, but does think better of it. He just wants to bide his time and go for the move on the next straight, as Park has a little bit of a look on the inside of Moricum, who defends it admirably on the inside, but will have less grip now than maybe the hard tire will have at this stage in the race, as the two are squabbling just like Shanghai and Theodore. But the penalty of Parker will set him back quite a few positions, as Lewis is still trying to catch within that DRS, and a beautiful angle that is. Although it doesn't show the best angle, it is a beautiful one, as we are now on board with Shanghai, who will have a DRS on Theodore, and we'll try to have a move, as in the background we see Burgertown just behind Tomo for P8, excuse me. On board with Shanghai, will he make a late lunge? He does have a look, but does think better of it. And now it is Parker who loses the position to Moricum, as Lewis gets his first warning, or his first penalty for track limits, and that will definitely see him demoted if he does get closer to that P9 position. Meanwhile, in the background, we do see that Burgertown did overtake Tomo at the end of that straight. But this fight is just too good to not follow, as it is 4 drivers for P4. The front drivers have found their rhythm, all at around 2 seconds of each other. But Parker says, I want to get up there. He knows he has the pace. He knows he has the strategy, but he does think better of it. He seems to just be biding his time for the perfect time for a move. But that move will probably be into the next straight, unless he wants to save his tires some more, as Morcom does go very deep there, just like we saw Shanghai do 2 laps ago. Speaking of, we are on board with the man himself, and I'm expecting a pretty easy overtake, or for him to just use Theodore to save his ERS, as Parker pushes Morcom around. Probably had more grip than the Mercedes driver, and brakes and hits his rear wing, and that does mean that the Mercedes driver is around, as Shanghai again with his inside to outside fake out, but this time around it doesn't quite work, as Theodore covers off the inside, and a beautiful defense of the cutback into another cutback. And so he has to wait for now, as Parker is on the... Oh, a little bit of a look by Shanghai, but he has to wait for now, and that might compromise his exit. Parker just behind the Ferrari. Please don't hit him as well. Oh, Parker losing the rear a bit there. We've all been there in that corner. You think you have all the grip, and then suddenly the rear just moves out. Nevertheless, He does save it very well. Unfortunately, Morecambe all the way down now in 9th as Lewis has taken P8 and is within DRS of Burgertown. Shanghai doesn't want to wait any longer and does go for the move on the inside. Will they leave each other space? It does seem for now they will, as Theodore has a little bit of a moment and Parker now has overtaken both. What a move by the Alpine. If he did that without contact, that is an amazing move that I did not get the best angle of. But still, a great job by the Alpine driver as Theodore gets the position by Shanghai, who may have gone a little bit wide with some oversteer or just wanted to sit within the DRS of Theodore, who is barely within striking distance of Parker himself, as plus ultra DNFs in the final corner and he crashes out. No, he manually DNFs as well. Is that just a new thing to do? We just manually DNF now? Anyway, Shanghai on the inside here of Theodore, and he does make it stick this time around. Can Theodore hang it around the outside? He is trying. He has a little bit of a better exit, and he does reclaim the inside here, as a little bit of a moment for Shanghai means that he loses a little bit of ground, but he does have enough to take P5 right now. As we see Lewis edging closer and closer to Burgertown. He does have that penalty though, but it seems to have more pace than the Red Bull driver at this time of the race. And he will want to use that pace to catch up to the little group ahead, as there's a yellow flag. That's the Aston off of Durgas, but he saves it and is back now. As we see Burgertown using a lot of ERS and DRS to make a move here on Theodore. As there's a little bit of contact and a little bit of contact again and again and again, and they just hit each other again and again. Oh, they will both not be happy about that, as Lewis just says, well, thank you very much, and takes 2 positions for the price of 1, and instantly drives away 2 seconds as well. Burgertown and Theodore, they will not be happy with each other and might be a little bit more aggressive than you usually would be now. And that would see Theodore from P4 to P8 in the span of just 2.5 laps. He will not be happy, but maybe he can stick with Burgertown and just fight his way back. He is a fast driver. His title rival in P1 currently, so he will want to make a move as he does open the DRS. He does activate his ERS. Burgertown makes a little bit of a feint, but doesn't actually move, as Theodore just claims or reclaims P7. A good move by him. Both Ferraris now 5th and 6th. Decent for the 2. Good points compared to the rivals. Both Haas drivers out of the points. 1 Mercedes out, 1 Williams out, 1 Alpine out. So a double points finish like this will be very, very beneficial for the team. As Shanghai does just about stay in the DRS of Parker. Parker has been doing a very good hard stint here, it has to be said. It's not easy to activate those tires and then keep them on the pace of the mediums, although at this point maybe I would prefer the hards over the mediums. Both tires will have fallen off pretty drastically at this point in time. And it seems to have calmed down a bit. Big gaps between a bunch of drivers. These are the only 2 within DRS of each other, and so we will keep following Shanghai. As we do see Wavy closing in on Harry slightly, but not quite enough yet to warrant a move. And Shanghai might just want to use this time to gain some ERS. And he does save a little bit of ERS here, as there's another yellow flag, and that is Theodore. Theodore with a moment, but now back on the pace. But that has allowed Morecambe to get close. Not sure what happened there. We'll hear from him later, probably, what happened. As we are on board with the Ferrari, still in the battle for 4th position. Lewis trying to stick with these guys, but doesn't quite seem to have the pace to catch up and get that DRS. He is just sticking at that 1.9, 2.0 gap. And Shanghai does the same with Parker around that 6-7 tenths, and that's it. But maybe he's happy with that. His tires are probably going off at this point compared to the hard of Parker. And that means just saving his ERS behind the Alpine driver will see him do well in the second stint. Not sure if these drivers are going to softs or to hards. I think it will be pretty 50-50 depending on how everyone's tire wear is. As Morecambe is still quite close to Theodore after his mistake. Burgertown overtakes KA, who is in the pits for the second time, I believe. And he will be going from softs to the hard compound tire. Oh, Theodore is off! Theodore has had a big moment in the S's and has lost his front wing. And a bad start of the race turns worse as he is down to 9th with no front wing. And he does, yeah, he is frustrated. Weaving left and right. Maybe he got tapped by Morecambe. Maybe he had a bit of a wiggle that happens in that corner. And now it is just him having to get back to the pits and go to hard tires. This is around the hard tires anyway that they can do, so it is not the worst, but still a front wing off is not ideal for one of the championship contenders. Tomo snuck his way back into the top 10. Good for him, as we've seen a lot of these top drivers. Lewis, Shanghai, Parker, Wavy Knife, Harry, Wimpy Nick, all fighting pretty much all race. And the drivers are in the back been having a very calm race outside of the spotlight. I hope for Jack that his settings have been fixed, and as I say that, he does get a time penalty for track limits, as there's a yellow flag, and that is Theodore missing the pit exit. Oh no, he made it. So he's in for his one and final stop. Durgas goes to a 37-1 as Theodore does, I want to almost say, rage quit in the pit exit. I hope that the car doesn't leave it. I think that it does generally do that, but it should not lead to a safety car when he does it like this. So that is good riddance. Shanghai still on that 6/10 gap. And not saving his battery as I thought he would, since it is still only 20-30%. KA gets his first penalty just after his stop. That is probably having a little bit too much grip on the fresh tires. Durgan with the fastest lap in P10, but with all these drivers not pitting yet, I'm guessing that they will take them pretty quickly. And they're still continuing on the mediums, so maybe none of these drivers will go to hard tires, but to softs instead. And as I say that, Harry actually does pit. So Harry onto the hard compound tire. Yeah, he does. And I'm not sure which one is the faster strat. I think personally I've tried both, and medium soft feels fast, but the tire goes completely off near the end of both stints, so it is rough. Medium hards feel slightly slower, but at the same time the tire at least remains intact, so it is a bit of a 50-50, and to each their own. I think some drivers just have driving styles that give them less tire wear, and obviously when you're in a situation that's like Wimpy Nick, for example, your tire wear will be pretty low. Question is, does he want to cover off Harry's undercut attempt? If you don't box this lap, he will be undercut, and then he might lose a lot of positions to the drivers behind, and then you have to fight back. Obviously on the fresh tires you will be able to, but still it will be tough as Aiden is in the pits. Harry overtakes Morecambe, who tried a move on him even though he has his fresh hards. And let's see how quickly that gap to Lewis goes. I'm guessing it won't remain 8 seconds that long. As Wimpy Nick does decide to cover off the undercut and Wavy Knife immediately follows suit. Parker gets a penalty. Oh, he already had one. Alright, never mind. Hard tires for Wimpy Nick, hard tires for Wavy Knife, and Lewis seems to be the only one on the strategy to go to softs. And he is pretty committed, I think, to this strategy at this point. If you go now to hards, it's just not really worth it anymore. And it does find himself in P2, and now if there's a safety car, you know, if two Haas drivers hit each other, or two AlphaTauri drivers hit each other, foreshadowing, he is in a prime position to win this race, because he just gets a free stop to softs, and he won't lose that many positions. So good strategy from him, but at the same time is exposed now to no safety car, and then he will have to fight his way back through some drivers that definitely have shown some aggression. Meanwhile, the Haas drivers swap position as they go side by side through the S's. That is very risky. On the inside here, Jack does leave in the space, but it does look like KA doesn't quite have the pace here to keep Jack behind. But Jack just biding his time, knowing he has the pace. As the gap between Harry and Lewis was 8 seconds, is now 5 seconds. That's how good that undercut is. And no real point to keep looking at this, as Wavy Knife has caught up to the back of HPR Tomo, who is also not boxed yet on his old hard tires, I believe. But you'd have to quote me on that. Oh, Wavy gets a penalty. So did Harry, and now Wimpy Nick just has the win in the bag. Harry takes the fastest lap at 1:36.942 as HPR Tomo does go out of the way of Wavy Knife. That is very good team driving. And now the only person that I think can take the fast lap of this race is Lewis, unless something happens that more people have to box later on. So Lewis and HPR Tomo in the prime position to take the fastest lap, as Ultra has left the session. The two AlphaTauri still close to each other. Somehow Tomo is catching, or is staying close, as Lewis gets overtaken by Wimpy Nick, who does have the fresh tires. And so a pretty mellow race so far. I mean, 4 DNFs, but all manual retirements as far as I could tell. And now it is just a matter of strategy, and if anything will happen. Seems like no big skill issues so far. Obviously we saw Theodore break his front wing, but oh, as I say that, commentator's curse. Lewis just keeping it on the gray stuff, but that was close, and he is drifting everywhere. It might be time to bite the bullet and go to softs. Or does he really want to force it on lap 16? That would probably be the strategy that is the fastest. And he will continue another lap. Oof. Probably struggling pretty hard now, as Wimpy Nick does a 36.6. He was behind Lewis, mind. And now he is 3 seconds ahead, which means Lewis is doing high 39s. And Harry behind Lewis, who has a big moment, luckily for Harry, gets out of the way by accident. And Wimpy Nick, the only one with no penalties, and the only one that is capable of winning this race at this point, unless something big happens. Shanghai getting a penalty, trying to fight Parker still. Undercut didn't work. And now Shanghai in the position that Parker was in last time around. This time he's on the hards and he's chasing, but no ERS, and he's using it all. Meanwhile, Parker has half his ERS left, so he should be fine. As I'm curious to see, Lewis has to box this lap. He is losing 3 to 4 seconds a lap, and might just be on the wrong strategy. It is tough to say, but everyone sort of agreeing that it is hard soft or hard medium. And he took a risk and went for medium softs. Don't speed, and he doesn't. Good. Wherever we fall back, I think it will be P9. P9. So nothing lost, nothing gained for him after the pit stop. I think he might actually be P7. Ooh, it'll be close. Burgertown is coming. Burgertown is coming. No, he keeps that. Burgertown will take P7. Lewis will slot in 8th on his fresh softs mind. And I'm expecting a fast lap by him within a lap or two. No real fights going on at the moment. Tomo may have boxed very early when he had damage. Lap 1. And he might just try to finish it all the way. Not sure what his strategy is, or maybe I missed a pit stop of his earlier. But he's sticking pretty well with everyone. As Shanghai has lost a lot of ground to Parker. Not sure what happened to him. No ERS. Maybe Parker just using his with his new mediums. And he does seem to have good pace. Lewis has caught up to the back of Burgertown, and with DRS, ERS, it should be a pretty clean and easy overtake. Burgertown having a look to try and send it back on the Ferrari driver, but doesn't quite have the ability to do so, and so Lewis promotes himself to P7, 9 seconds now behind Shanghai on his older hard tires. Harry now with another penalty. Means Wavy Knife just has to catch up a second, as Aiden with another penalty as well. A lot of penalties dished out today, as Tomo pits for his soft, and yellow flag in that is a safety car, and that is the worst timing for the people who just boxed for soft. A safety car after Aiden bins it into the wall of sector 1. Where is Wimpy Nick? They're all just through the first sector. And Durga says, thank you very much. I'll take a set of fresh softs, please. And I'm guessing most people will follow suit, even Lewis. And I guess Tomo won't. Tomo went to mediums. Wow. Well, this safety car is at the advantage of everyone without penalties. Wimpy Nick, Burgertown, Morecambe, Tomo are rubbing their hands right now. They see an opportunity. And Lewis, Shanghai, Parker, Wavy Knife, and Harry need to find some pace. Right. There we go. Harry may be in the worst position now. This does help everyone catch up, including the two Haas drivers and Durgas, who were quite far away after their mishaps in lap 1. Not sure what happened there at the pit entry. Some people wanted to box, some people had damage, I'm not sure, but now everyone is the same again, and just like yesterday, with less than half the race to go, it is time for new mediums. Well, well, well. 9 laps. People agreeing mediums are the faster tire. Lewis says, no thank you, I'll take the softs, please. Oh, that's Shanghai, sorry. And Lewis says, fuck these soft tires, I'm going to mediums. I'm learning something new. 9 laps mean mediums, not softs. I guess that makes sense. The soft do run out pretty quickly. And Parker did not box. Durgas has DNF'd. What happened there? What happened to Durgas? Well, Durgas crashed under safety car. And that means there's only 11 drivers left. As Jack goes to the pits for his final stop, hopefully for him. He'll be he has to hope that he doesn't get lapped here. Nah, he won't. That was not even close. Anyway. Mediums for him as well. And that means everyone on mediums except for Burger Town and Shanghai, I believe. Yeah. Jack, did you fix your issue? I hope you fixed your issue, mate. But he has to catch up to the safety car still. 43 seconds. 56 seconds, actually, the gap from him to the safety car. Oh, it's still locked. So you're still in ERS. Auto ERS. Yeah, I guess you cannot fix it in-game. Yeah, I think it happened when you were doing the lobby, the first lobby, I mean. Because when you said you suddenly couldn't change, that reminded me of the one time that I did this by accident. There's nothing, like, it's so hidden as well that it's hard to tell what the reason is, you know what I mean? Unless you've seen it yourself. So I'm sorry to hear that for you, man. I hope you get some points anyway. I know you can do it, so just keep your head up. Safety car did not go in this lap, and that means that Jack does get his chance to get some points even with his poor luck here, as the teammate of his, KA, has gotten close. Now, most of my predictions were right. I expected Parker, Wimpy, Harry, Wavy. I expected Shanghai. I think I forgot to mention Tomo in my predictions. And obviously I had Theodore and LSC Monks up there as well. But you know, I'm not a psychic, so it is what it is. Wimpy Nick definitely in the best position now to win the race, but now he's back in the middle of the carnage. And so he has to survive that first. Because to finish first, you first have to finish. And Tomo, just excellent strategy by him, or at least making use of the safety cars in the right way. As Jack almost lines up, and hopefully he lines up fast enough so that the safety car goes in this lap. But it seems like the safety car will do another one. No, he will not. Now that is commentator's curse. Lewis will win. He has a penalty, mate. He had a skill issue. But it is still possible. A lot of carnage can happen here. We saw that yesterday as Parker waits late. He waits very late. But he does go eventually. And Harry is already having a look on the inside of Wimpy Nick. Will he make the move stick? He does, just like in lap 1. And AlphaTauri forgets to brake. And everyone has to take avoiding action. HPR Tomo, a very aggressive move or an illegal move, I'm not sure. But he does take P3 for now. Wimpy Nick, who I thought was in the perfect position to win, is now down in 5th. As Lewis and his teammate are scrapping. Hopefully they do not make contact as Shanghai gets another penalty. And Lewis does have a little bit of a corner cut there, but it does get away with it for now. Wimpy Nick all the way down in 5th from 1st. This safety car was a disaster for him so far, but he still is the only one with no penalty in the top 6, 7. So maybe he can still make use of that, as there's a little bit of fighting here between Burger Town and KA. And a little bit of contact here and there. Moricum gets another penalty. That is not surprising, as Wavy Knife on the inside does take P3 from his teammate, who wants to defend from Wimpy Nick, who is the only one that can really challenge all these people for the win without a penalty. he is the person to beat. And Tomo does cover the inside quite well, as there is Burger Town going around, and that demotes him to last place for now. Unfortunate for the Red Bull driver. Maybe he can catch up in time. 7 laps to go. As a big fight for every position at this point. As another yellow flag. Burger Town spinning after spinning. It is what it is. Parker under threat by Harry, who has been known to send it up the inside, and he doesn't. And Burger Town leads the session but doesn't retire. Maybe a better way so his AI keeps driving and doesn't cause another safety car. Harry around the outside, and that turns it to the inside here in the S's, and he does take P1 from Parker, who stayed out on his older tires, and he does get exposed for that at this point in time. Lewis still on the back of Shanghai, but doesn't seem to find a way around it, and it does seem everyone is struggling to find a way through. Maybe just waiting for the DRS. And as I say that, it's Wimpy Nick on the inside here of HPR Tomo. And Tomo tries to stick it around the outside, and they leave each other space barely. The Williams driver probably getting a bit impatient. He knows he has the pace. He's been in front all day. But just like yesterday, we had a racer on the front row the entire time. He didn't end up winning that race either. But he does take P4 here. Wavy Knife trying to get past Parker, who is struggling on his older mediums compared to the others, as a little bit of aggressive dive bomb here by Wavy Knife. Parker sees it coming, and he does a beautiful switchback, but now he has to hang around the outside. They need to make each other live. Though they make contact, they do not, and around the outside goes Parker, and he does reclaim P2 as he does get another penalty for exceeding track limits. And now Wavy Knife taking advantage of that and going on the inside. Parker back with a switchback once again, and a great fight between these two for P2, but Parker with the more ERS has a little bit of a look here on the inside and does make the move stick this time around. Another switchback attempt by the AlphaTauri, but this time it is to no avail, and it is Parker back into P2. Wimpy Nick a little bit of nowhere, but at the same time 6/10 is more than enough for DRS, as Wavy Knife is still on the back of Parker, and HPR Tomo and Shanghai are close behind Wimpy Nick himself. So a big fight brewing, as Harry just says, I'm out of here. I don't want nothing to do with this. And this big fight will definitely decide who will get the podium. A lot of people with penalties, and now already on the inside is Wavy Knife. He leaves no time, as Tomo has a look at Wimpy Nick, and a switchback and a cutback. And does he make the move stick? Wimpy Nick has to cut the corner slightly, but does get away with it. No penalty for him so far, as he is still in P4. Parker has to cede position 2 to Wavy Knife for now. Wimpy Nick, if you think about it, is still in the lead, so maybe he doesn't need to do anything aggressive, but the longer he stays within the mess, the more potential for people dive bombing him, as Tomo has been seen doing that here and there, as Shanghai trying to bide his time. 6 seconds of penalties he wants to get past here to save some points for himself. And Lewis behind, not quite finding the pace to keep with these guys, but might just be happy with P7, as maybe more penalties are yet to come with some contact. Morecambe goes by KA, Jack still in P10, but almost inside the DRS, as Wimpy Nick we are on board with, trying to catch up with the stricken Parker on his old mediums, and you can see it, he's sliding. He is slippery. He is... Oh, there's a yellow flag, and it's... No, is it Lewis? No, it's Shanghai. Shanghai goes off in the S's. And does he still have a front wing? He does still have a front wing. Is everything still intact? Answer is yes, and that does see him still in P10 when Lewis promotes himself to P6, as Wimpy Nick has a look on the inside of Parker, and he takes the position of Parker, and that's P3 for the man who has won every race that I've pretty much commentated. But still, such an impressive feat by him. He will try to make it another win for him and extend his position in the championship. Meanwhile, Wavy Knife has caught up to the back of Harry, but with the penalty, he doesn't need to do anything rash here. As behind it is Parker and Tomo, and it definitely shows now that the mediums of Parker are absolutely in the bin. As Wavy Knife sets the fastest lap, and Tomo has a big moment of oversteer. And that is a yellow flag for Shanghai, who has spun yet again. Oh man, that is so unfortunate. He had such a good race, and now spinning twice will box for fastest lap probably. Even though he might lose position to Burger Town, even though that is AI, so he should be catching up to that easily. Anyway, so Parker in P4 with 6 seconds of worth of penalties that would demote him down to 6th. Lewis, therefore, in 5th at the moment. If he can catch up to HPR Tomo, he could even fight for 4th. As Wimpy Nick is trying to catch up to the leading pack. And now we'll see if Wavy Knife wants to just win or wants to win on the track. I guess with Wimpy Nick behind, he's doing neither. But he will try a move here on the inside. No, he doesn't. He does just about wait for now, and I think that is the right call if you are ahead of him on paper anyway. You know, behind Parker is having a look at Tomo, and this might help Lewis catch back up as these two are squabbling pretty much this entire race already. Lewis trying to find the best way around these two, but is already blinking with low ERS himself. And so it must be said that I think Rags might be wrong here. He might not go for the win today. No ERS with a penalty and a pretty big gap to the leading pack. But never say never. There's 3 more laps to go. As they round the final corner and Lewis is trying to catch up, and he has the DRS. And we'll hope that Parker and Tomo will fight hard and maybe fight a little bit too hard and grant him that position. A little bit of a wiggle there as Wavy Knife has taken the lead meanwhile. And Harry will try to drive as far away from Wimpy Nick as possible. And as I say that, he gets it all wrong in the S section and now hasn't been on the marbles. And so the grip levels are very low, and Wimpy Nick suddenly very close behind his rival. And that might mean a very easy pass on the next straight if he wants to go for it. He doesn't need to, obviously. He still has the lead on paper anyway. As behind, let's just look at these two. Harry covers off the inside, and Wimpy Nick takes back P2 with a wonderful move around the outside, just like Shanghai did a few times today. Meanwhile, behind Parker and Tomo, still fighting hard for P4 with Lewis right behind, trying to make use of the two squabbling, but seemingly struggling or fighting his own battle with his own tires. Behind, Jack finally passes KA for P8. As KA with an insane dive bomb on his teammate, but a beautiful move back to P8 for him. But I'm not sure if Jack will be very happy with that move. That was a dive bomb and a half. But I guess, yeah, you have to cover it. Meanwhile, this fight has died out a little bit as well. Although knowing these drivers, there will be in massive sand near the final lap. As we are nearing the end of this race, it's been chaotic at times and mellow at times. But it's been an excellent show. As Wimpy Nick will extend the Drivers' Championship once again. And I'm not trying to commentate as good as anyone with that. As Jack has reclaimed P8. And Parker getting another 3-second penalty. Why not? He's collecting them at this point. The Haas drivers now not anymore that close. And that might mean Jack just considers that position his. Lewis has fell out of DRS. But maybe these two will squabble. And maybe these two will cause some chaos and drama. As around the outside tries Parker. And Tomo tries to brake late. But breaks early enough so there's no contact. Parker tries to squeeze him out and does succeed in doing so, and now takes P4 back from HPR Tomo, but 9 seconds worth of penalties. He is gonna lose a bunch of positions still. Morecambe has entered the chat as well, within the striking distance of Parker's penalty as well. Wimpy Nick seems to be fine, just fine and content really, just sitting a second away from Wavy Knife. Why bother winning on track if you can just win? Period. As we have entered the final lap, let's look at these three fighting for P4. And it does seem that on track Parker may prevail, especially if Tomo has a moment like that, and maybe Lewis can have a little look for P5, but it does seem that he's a little bit too far back for now. Behind, it does seem KA has caught up slightly again to Jack, but not enough to really warrant a move. And around the final corners, these guys will go. Shanghai will start his final lap and his final shot at the fastest lap, as he probably already has taken it, but I didn't see it. There it is. There he took it. Cool. The final chance probably for Tomo to take P4 is here. DRS open. ERS has been used, but all the battery is empty. And so it might be a very difficult move to make here, although he is gaining and he's gaining, but it's not enough. And he has to just slot in behind Parker for now and might just have to be happy with P4 on paper, not on track. But as we were talking about that, it is Wimpy Nick and Wavy Knife. Just the two of them. And Harry with a big gap behind, or a slightly bigger gap behind. But Wavy Knife, a great race, but just couldn't keep within the track as there's a yellow flag behind. That is for Harry. Harry is spun. And he has no more front wing. Harry spins it in the final lap as Wimpy Nick wins the Austin Grand Prix. I wanted to just show that instead, as Harry suddenly misses the point, and now Harry, all the way down in 6th, make that 7th position. What happened there? Parker for that gets P6, Morecambe suddenly P5, Lewis almost with a podium, and suddenly it's a double AlphaTauri podium, just like we saw yesterday, I believe. What a final lap. What a crazy, crazy race. But Wimpy Nick, just like always, prevails here in Austin. Wavy Knife takes 2nd. A great race from him. Tomo P3. What an excellent recovery drive. And Lewis P4. Just a very stable drive by him. Unlucky timing for him for the safety car. And maybe a bit lucky with the people around Shanghai and such crashing out. But that is the end of the Austin Grand Prix here at CRF2. As Wimpy Nick wins in front of Wavy Knife, Tomo, Lewis, Morecambe, Parker, Harry, Jack wins, takes P8, KA, and Shanghai rounds up the top 10 and he takes fastest lap, so that is still 2 points for him. A few unfortunate DNFs, especially for Theodore, who was still fighting for a championship, might lose a lot of positions now. But it is what it is. This is the final standings. Take it in. I thank you very much for watching. My name was Fridge. I will be back next week here for CRF3 and CRF2, so do have a look next week again. We're here also tomorrow, same time for CRF1. Please tune in if you feel like it. It'll be a fun race. Anyway, that is it for us. I hope you had a good time, and I wish you all a wonderful day.